I grew up in Oregon, so drinking tap water always tasted great. Tasted very refreshing, cold, crisp, you know, great. And then I remember the first time I ever went to, it was Utah. My dad had a friend growing up, and he had a family. He was Mormon, of course. Their family was Mormon, and they lived in Utah. Makes sense. So we went over there for like a weekend, and he had kids that were our age, so we were like hanging out with them. Cute girls too. You know, they were like 3 years older than I was, so I felt like a fucking like little baby, but I was attracted to one of them. Her name was Claire. She was great. She's married now, has a bunch of kids, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. But no, when I was over there, I had to drink from their sink, you know, just like they just didn't, just drinking from their fucking sink. And the Utah water was so nasty. Like, I was about to vomit. Like, straight up. Like, I was so used... All I had ever had was Oregon water. And here I show up to Utah, drinking Utah water for the first time in my life. And I'm, like, 12 years old. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, hello, government, fix this shit. Like, why does the water taste so rancid? Used to steal chocolate when I was a kid. What the fuck is wrong? Why would you steal? Listen, I stole one time. I've already told you guys this story. I stole one time. We were at a Toys R Us when I was a child, and I thought it was a brilliant idea to steal a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards with my brother. So my brother and I both stole a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and we're on our way home. Toys R Us was kind of far away. It was like a 20-minute drive back home. So we're back in the minivan. It's dark out. We had to turn on the little light to see our fucking Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So we're like opening them up in the back of the car, and then obviously my parents were like, what the fuck? You guys don't have any money. You guys are children. So what happened? How did you guys get these cards? And we're like, oh, we just took them from the cash register. Like, we just took them from the little area where we're, you know, putting our toys on the little cashier belt thing. And we took them, and then they're like, all right, well, so my dad, you know, swerved the wheel around, and we were heading back to the store, and he's like, okay, well, you guys are gonna go over to the store and tell them what happened and return them. And my brother and I started screeching. I mean, just like, no. We were just bloodshot eyes from just yelling and crying and screeching, and we had to go to Toys R Us back and just give them the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and tell them that we stole them. It was fucking awful. I stole a whole thing of chocolate syrup pump from Waffle House. Even my parents can vouch alcohol was involved. What? You've just one-upped everybody in the chat, dude. Like, are you sure you want to share that? Like, so what you're saying is you got blackout drunk and then stole an entire chocolate syrup pump from Waffle House. Bruh, they're probably still on the lookout for you. Probably there's still a search warrant out, or what am I saying? Search warrant. That's not the right thing. I'm done talking about what I was just talking about. Your beard looks sick. Thank you. I don't ever remember it actually feeling wrong taking those Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, I think part of me was like, this feels off, but I didn't understand the consequences. I don't know. That just like, I would never have been that guy that would steal, even if I thought I could get away with it, you know? Yeah, I mean, I had friends that would shoplift. I didn't want to be around them, but I did have one friend in particular that shoplifted when I was with him. And I was just looking at him. I'm like, I don't want to go to a store with you again. Like, I'm just like, why? What is wrong with you? This is middle school. Just like fucking degens. Like, I'm gonna get in trouble for your degeneracy. It's not. But I was too much of like a bitch to be like, stop. You know, I just let him do it. And I was like, whatever. My friend in high school always stole protein bars. I didn't complain. Oh my God. Okay, you know when I was saying I'd never shoplifted ever? I only shoplifted that one time when I was 7, and I had to return the cards. So those are the Yu-Gi-Oh cards I stole that I was just talking about. But there was one more time I actually did steal, and it was at a Boy Scout camp. So you guys all know I grew up Mormon, and Mormons back then all forced everybody to be in Boy Scouts back then. They don't do it anymore, but Yeah, so we would go to Boy Scout camps every year in the summer for a week. And so one year, I must have been 15. One year we pulled up, and the troop that was right, we would always fuck around. Like, the Mormon troops never gave a fuck about scouts because we were forced into it. Every other troop was like super goody two-shoes, got their fucking merit badge, sashes and everything, and they actually cared. You know, they genuinely cared about like getting their Eagle Scout. The rest of us were just full degens. It was so bad. So we were parked up. It was just like probably 30 different troops around the entire camp surrounding this lake. And we were parked up next to these this like islander troop, basically from Portland. So they were like all Tongans and Samoans, and I think there was like a couple white guys on, but they were great. They were awesome. They were so much fun to be around because you just didn't take anything fucking seriously. So we went over to the shop, the little store there. It's just like a fucking shed with a bunch of snacks. It's like super, super overpriced snacks because it's the only convenience store you're gonna find for the week, you know. So if you brought a little bit of money, you could buy stuff. But anyway, so we all pull up, and there's like probably 15, maybe not 15, maybe 10 straight up like giant Tongans and Samoans pulling up to the store, and we're with them because we're just hanging out. And all of a sudden, they start crowding around the candy aisle, and I just see them start stealing a bunch of shit. I'm like, my eyes just pop open. I'm like, holy fuck! Like these guys have no chill. Like they actually just pulled up here and are now stealing a bunch of stuff. Like there's one shop owner, and he's not looking. He's just doing his thing, and this guy's just stealing stuff. And then one of them was like, "Go, grab something." And I'm like, I didn't know what to do in the moment, so I stole something too. I did. I stole something, guys. I think it was like a fucking 2-pack of Reese's Cups. And then we left, and I was so scared. Like, I didn't want to look like a little bitch, you know? Like, when you're 15 and you see a bunch of like 16 and 7-year-old or 17-year-old islanders that are like 3 times your size, the last thing you want to do is look like that little bitch that won't steal, you know? So I'm like, yeah, man, I'll fucking steal this. All right, let's roll. And I'm like just genuinely terrified. I'm trying to keep my cool. Anyway, yeah, that was bad, but fuck them for having overpriced candy, right? For all us Boy Scouts there. No, it was my fault. I'm not trying to push the blame on them. It was bad. I felt bad about it, honestly, for the rest of the week. I was like, why did I do that? Why didn't I stand up for what was right? You know, it's weird though, because you know, most people have a conscience, and so it's like when you do something you know is wrong, you're gonna feel really shitty about it until you do it enough, and then you just numb yourself to it, and then it just feels normal. That's not a great place to get to, where the things that you once thought were wrong, you just don't even feel it anymore. You're like, eh. As a barista, I've always been told stuff tastes better when it's not made by yourself. It really is true, I think. Well, not always, but I told you guys the story of when I tried to like replicate my own like Dutch Bros, basically, because my little brother and I, not this past summer, but the summer before, we would like pull up to Dutch Bros like every day after we'd play pickleball in the morning, and we were paying basically, you know, like $6 or $7 for a Red Bull with syrup in it, and we're like, dude, we just buy Red Bulls in bulk and then buy our own syrups and just make our own Red Bulls, and it'd be like less than half the cost, you know, and we could actually just mess around with the flavoring. And so we did that, and they were great. They tasted identical, and we could just like, you know, make them whenever we wanted. And so we did, but it just wasn't the same. It's like the ritual was gone, you know? It's like the element of pulling up to a Dutch Bros and talking to the person at the window and getting that, you know, somebody else made it, sort of. It's like the whole ritual was gone. So even though we were saving money, it just like wasn't the same experience. So yeah, I don't know. They'll try to like recreate takeout from home, so they don't have to pay the money for actual takeout. So if they're making like a rice bowl with some meat and veggies and stuff, they'll like place it in the bowl really nicely, so it looks all professional and it looks like it was done by some really fancy restaurant. And they'll even put it in a takeout box. That's actually genius, but I still am not convinced it's gonna work. Still not convinced it'll work. That you'll get the same feeling out of it, or that it'll be like getting takeout. I went out with one of my friends that was a girl, and she took me to every single Dutch Bros in Eugene. And there was like 8 Dutch Bros. So I got Rebels, which are sugary, like Red Bulls, like flavored Red Bulls, basically. And I got 8 of them, and I didn't drink all of them, but I drank enough of them so that the actual like graduation breakfast that we had the next day, I vomited everywhere. You should have married that girl. Yeah, no, she got married to this other guy at that high school, actually. One of my like best friends in my senior year. She was great person. And I think the biggest reason I see her as a great person is because like I was new to that school. Not only was I new for that year, but I actually came into the school year late. So nobody knew who the fuck I was. Moved cities, came to this new school. I had no friends. I wasn't even going to be there the full year. And that's not a great position to be in, to just be finishing off your senior year at a brand new high school. And guess what she did? I was in her math class, and she like took me under her wing and like introduced me to all of her friends. And then I just had a big friend group like right off the bat. And I was like, that is very sweet of you. Like, you did not need to do that. You did not need to interact with me at all. And you chose to like be my friend. And it like changed the course of that year for me. And I actually ended up loving that year more than any other school year. How much do you make from Twitch, YouTube? You want to know my yearly salary? Type 1 if you guys want to know my yearly salary and how much I make on an average month. And oh no, I want to start streaming as a side gig. Well, I'm not going to go into the deets of, you know, financial stuff if you were being dead serious about asking me that. But, you know, enough to live off of. But keep in mind, when I started streaming, that like I did not start making enough money to live until like 2 years into full-time streaming. Now, I wasn't really doing YouTube back then. YouTube has helped. But I was in a very, very good position to start the journey because I was living with my brother. And if I couldn't make rent that month, he would spot me, you know, and I'd pay him back. So, well, I'm not going to answer the question straight up how much I make, but just enough to live, you know. Enough to live. Yeah, W brother, honestly. I've told him, I've been very honest and upfront with him, even during that time when we were living together. Like, we have our differences, my brother and I. Like, I ended up moving out because, one, I wanted to live on my own anyway, but we also just had a lot of disagreements. But I would always tell him, like, thank you for, like, helping me. Because if it wasn't for my brother, I would have never been able to stream. Like, I just actually wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have put that on anyone else. Like, there's no way anybody else I would have done that to. Like, hey, do you want to live with each other, friend? And I won't be able to pay for this month's rent, but I'll just keep streaming, man, and hopefully it'll fucking happen. Like, no, I wouldn't ever do that to anybody else besides my brother. And I wasn't gonna live at home either with my parents and try to do this. It just wouldn't have. It would have been so awkward living with my parents and trying to start off. Dude, you know what? You know what happened to you, Dunes? You want to know what happened to you? You decided that anybody that plays RS is now a nerd. And deep down, you wish you were a nerd. You fucking wish, but guess what? Society has corrupted your mind. You think it's cooler to be a guy that, you know, gets bitches and gets fast cars and vroom vroom and, you know, makes that fucking bank, you know, gets that bag. And the rest of us are here just playing RuneScape, and you are just judging us. What happened to you, dude? What happened to you? Yeah, but the thing is, I basically am already bald. Like, let's be honest, guys. I'm pretty much already bald. I just got that little bit of hair on top. So whenever it's just like not manageable and I don't want to buy any more minoxidil, then guess what? We're going the full bald, the full beard look. I had a Payday bar earlier. Those things are so good. No, they're fucking not. What? Jesus, dude. I remember somebody gave me a Payday once, and I never had one before, and I'm like, oh, I've never had this. This is probably going to be good, because most candy bars that I've never had, that I end up trying, are usually good. I was eating that, and it was a hot day outside. I'm like, dude, this is not worth my calories at all. Just a bunch of salted peanuts and caramel just jacked up in a bar. It's like, dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was starving, yeah, I'd eat it. But would I ever go out of my way to ever buy that or to go out of my way to grab one? Hell no. Hell no. I love caramel and peanuts. Yeah, with chocolate. Because it's a chocolate bar. Nobody's going to ever buy a Payday. Paydays are like salt licks. Salt licks? What are those? See, even YouTube shitting on you, Dunes. Like, or not shitting on you, but shitting on your take of thinking Paydays are good. Like, that came out of nowhere, too. Like, bro, you just incriminated yourself. You just completely put yourself on blast for having boomer takes. You don't play RuneScape, and you eat Paydays. Like, L after L after L after L. What's the next L, Dunes? What's the next L gonna be? Sorry to call you out, but I have to. Like, this is for your own good. You cannot be eating Paydays, okay? Got it, Buster? No more. I don't like ice cream. Okay, yeah, just... This guy likes Paydays, hates ice cream, doesn't like RuneScape, doesn't like nerds, as in people, nerds. He calls people that play RuneScape nerds. The only reason he's not banned yet is because he's subbed and he has a fucking 5K bit badge next to his name. So he's actually better than a lot of you. He's supported the Says Bays on a different level. He's supported me. If I ban him, then where, you know, what is that saying to my future supporters? Oh, Saybay bans his supporters. Saybay will ban a guy that's dropped fucking 50 bucks on this dude. I really want to make that statement. Not quite, but I do want to call out his boomer ways.